another drill.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Contiengecy Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me, as always, is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, everyone, this is the recap episode, the end of the first book of the New Jedi Order, Vector Prime. Pour one out for Vector Prime.
Do you want me to pour it on the hardwood or the carpet?
Probably the hardwood. It's easier to clean up, I think.
I poured it on the carpet.
I knew it. Oh, guys, it's been an amazing journey so far. 25 episodes for Vector Prime with 26 chapters. We obviously tied in the last two because they were short. But yeah, good long journey to get through a childhood favorite book. A lot of ups and downs. And what we're going to do with this episode is recap what we learned from the book, what we liked, what we disliked, and just kind of, give us just a little buffer episode in between getting it in our second book. And that is going to be Agents of Chaos, Heroes Trial. Second book in the line.
I hated it. I want a Star Trek series. Let's do Star Trek.
Okay, gotcha. On top of all the other podcasts we have to do, right?
Yep.
Good deal.
All right, guys. See you later.
So let's go ahead and start. We'll do a little Jedi Council. How's it going this week?
Food coma. No, the week's going fine. Nothing too exciting.
Yeah. We got kind of really not the first snow, but a little bit of first accumulated snow a few days ago. And then we're kind of getting a little bit more snow today. Getting not a bunch, but we're getting it.
We also had a 60-degree day.
Oh, God,
Tossed in between there. That was a nice day.
It snowed. It got really warm, and then it's snowing again. That's Ohio weather for you, though. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it's been a pretty quiet week, just work and so forth. We actually got down to the Guitar Center today and fell in love with a guitar, and possibly you made potentially a determination on an amp. Yeah. Maybe.
I think I've decided on the Boss Katana.
Boss Katana is a great amp. I actually got my amp in yesterday. My Fender Hot Rod Deluxe. It's a tube amp, and it's ridiculously loud.
Amazing.
Oh, my goodness.
Great
It's so loud. 40 watts with a tube amp will literally blow your doors off of most people. It's just so loud.
It was almost like uncomfortably loud for the room we were in at the lowest possible audible setting.
I kind of feel like I need to soundproof the room, put some soundproofing so it won't bounce as much. Get a little bit more acoustically tuned.
I won't lie, I might go with a small one, though, just because I don't want to take up a bunch of space, but I know I'll probably end up regretting it.
Well, I mean,
upgrading.
But to be honest with you...
They hold their value, though, so Katana, I could upgrade easily.
Well, the Katana 50 and the Katana 100 are literally about the same size. So I would just go with the 100. Just don't go with the Mega 100.
What was the price difference? I forget now, because they didn't have a 50.
They didn't have one there. I think the 50 watt is maybe like $189.99, so basically $200. The
$350 for the other one, I believe.
Yeah, the 100 was $350, and the 100 with the 212 inch speakers was like $500? Yeah.
$5 or $5? No, it's $550.
Okay.
A little bit too much more for what you got, in my opinion.
And it's a big amp, and I don't know if I were crossing into that sort of realm, I'd probably go maybe Fender Champion 100, but yeah, the Katana came out. I don't remember when that came out. It hasn't been out on the market terribly long, but their line of amps has been super great. For any of you out there who are guitarists or enjoy music, I've been playing guitar since I was 13, which makes that 18 years. Am I doing my math right? I'm 31, something like that.
You're asking me to do math while I'm dealing with a chicken coma.
Well, we also went and got Raisin Cane's, and we ate the largest combo they had. I hadn't eaten to that point, so I was hungry.
But, I just had my McDonald's, so I was...
Yeah, you did earlier.
I ate enough to not be a baby about it, and then I was... Yeah.
So when did you start playing?
It was around 9.
Okay.
it
Yeah.
was
So
9.
yeah, you've been playing for a while too. But
On and off, though. I mean,
for sure.
truthfully, I go through phases.
Yeah, and so do I at times. That's definitely for sure. Enjoying a little coffee here today on a
Bulletproof.
cooler
No,
day.
I'm kidding. Not bulletproof. Technically bulletproof, not
Well,
bulletproof.
what is it is the actual bulletproof brand coffee, not the actual bulletproof coffee recipe with the
Give me butter.
with the butter,
Butter.
grass fed butter. So no, but it actually is kind of tasty. So yeah, we got out to Guitar Center. Had this one. It was actually just a Squier. It was a Fender Squier brand Strat, but it was a special run they did. What was it officially called? Like the modified custom something Surfer.
Surf model, yeah.
And it was seafoam green.
Vintage, modified,
There you go.
Surfer,
Yeah.
I believe.
I think I think you're right. And it had, Duncan,
Amazing.
Duncan created lipstick pickups in it.
Amazing pickups.
Re-
It sold the guitar.
I was really impressed. I mean, the body wood for that probably wasn't anything special, although
Did you notice it, though?
no. The only thing I noticed is the action was really high, and it just needed a bit of a fine tune.
But if you are going to replace the neck on that anyway,
Well,
wouldn't be much to do.
Yeah, it was rosewood fingerboard, and I like maple necks. It is basswood, so it's not like special wood body or anything. But yeah, no, the pickups were just so good, and I love that kind of like 60s Strat, really curvy, rounded almost kind of feel. I think you kind of gravitated toward another one they had, which was more of the 70s, a little bit longer body design.
I didn't necessarily gravitate towards it. I liked the color
Okay, gotcha.
because I believe that was a sunburst, and
Yes, it was.
My weakness is sunburst.
Well, I do like Sunburst too, and that one just had the
I
larger.
hated the headstock.
Yeah, it had the fatter 70s headstock, which
so
I'm
ugly.
not
They're
a
so
fan
ugly.
of that. But yeah, it was fun kind of going down. We got in the acoustic room. I'd been wanting to try because I saw online they were selling this. We have an obsession with limited edition Washburn acoustic guitars because that's what our grandpa played. And I have 2 of them. You have 2 of them. And, they come up periodically. And they're not super expensive, but I saw online that they had a used, I think it was a D15, which wasn't a limited run, but they were made in the 1980s. And Washburn was I believe they were actually sued for the design of the guitar because they were doing like the same headstock and it looked very, very similar. So they stopped making them that way, and then they went to the V-cut headstock, and then they kind of went
Which
to
I
the-
prefer.
Well, so do I. But I just wanted to get my hands on it and play it because I was like, I don't know. And I've heard some people say some good stuff. I was actually extremely impressed, aside from the really crappy strings that were on that guitar.
Yeah, I couldn't form an educated opinion on it because the action was a bit much,
I get
and
that.
the strings were junk.
It
It wasn't in the best shape either, but that wouldn't necessarily affect
for
quality.
sure. Normally, when you
sound.
have guitars, there's always some slight curve in the neck, and that's just a playability thing. This was dead straight.
Yeah.
Now, on some guitars, that really works. On this one, if you were going up the neck, the action was getting a little high. But anyway, I was happy to have played it. It was very bright. It was a very bright sounding guitar, but very similar to the one I already have. So for $300, I was just like, nah, if it were like $150, $200, I probably would have walked out with it.
Did you notice that we're only acoustic guitar snobs with Washburn? Not everything else. We'll play a Washburn and say ours is better. But if we play a Martin or anything else, we don't say that.
Which honestly is not really being a guitar snob in a lot of people's eyes, because Washburn is not necessarily like the top brand. It's just the brand
A lot of
we
people
like.
just don't know Washburn.
Well, I mean, there are some really great sounding guitars, and we've been lucky in finding ones that are really nice, and the limited edition kind of makes an impact for me, and I think it does for you as well. I did pick up a Martin. It was it was one of their X series, which generally I kind of stay away from. The necks tend to be a little bit too fat, and they tend to be very bassy. There's not a lot of high end. The treble, which I like a bright sounding guitar, but pick up this one, and it wasn't Dreadnought. It was a shallower bowl. It did have a solid spruce top, which the other one I was playing I don't believe did. In the X series, and I know you guys are so turned on by this, but anyway, in the X series, this is recap episode. I do what I want. But again, in the X series, they do a high pressure laminated mahogany sides and a high pressure laminated spruce top, which is fine, but obviously you want solid woods as much as you can get. So this one that I played had the solid top, but the pressure laminated sides, which is fine, and it sounded amazing. Yeah. It had one of the brightest tones, and it just made me happy playing.
$600 worth of bright tones, by the way.
Well, but
it was very nice. I would have bought it if I had the extra cash. Truthfully,
well, the satin finish over the whole guitar. They try and tone down, because I mean like a even a new D18 or D28 is still $2,000 to $3,000, which is crazy. Okay, crazy to spend that much on a guitar.
What was your opinion of the first Martin you picked up? Because I know it wasn't as positive.
Oh God, I don't remember the model of that one, but it was so dead. It didn't have any sort of brightness. There was no soul. It was just such a, just a rhythm guitar.
A kid's first guitar almost.
Kind of. It just didn't.
Only full size.
It just didn't have any life in it. And I got to have a little bit of life in those guitars because, again, I'm I sing a little bit, and I'm just strumming chords mainly. I'm not doing intricate work, so when you want those chords to ring, you got to have a guitar that has a little bit of life in it. And that one had zero. That thing just was dead inside.
That would have been more of a for more classical playing, I feel like.
I guess.
If you get anything out of it.
Could have been.
Maybe. I probably wouldn't finger pick with it.
No.
It would be useless for that.
It was just too dark, and I wasn't impressed. But the second one, the second Martin that I played, that was amazing.
Did you ever get that other one tuned and tried it?
The Alvarez?
Yeah.
I did.
What did you think of it?
I liked the feel of it. I thought the
sound
tone
was a little generic.
Well, the tone was okay. It was a little flat, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. But the feel was great. And maybe if you put some better strings on it,
the laminate on that.
Yeah, that was a cool one. They actually had
$400.
I wouldn't pay $400 for it. They actually did have quite a few things that we were able to pick up today. And normally I don't really go in there and pick up a ton. Because, I mean, a lot of it's just, it's and I do tend to buy used stuff anyway, just to save a couple bucks here and there. I don't professionally gig, and I mean, I don't really gig anymore as it is. It's been a long time since I did that, but I like to have quality instruments. I come here, tick around, record some stuff, play around, and it makes me happy. So
you did get a nice science lesson, though.
Oh my goodness! Do you want me to tell that story before we get
in?
Long John Council. Yeah, so, and again, some of you are musicians and you might disagree with my opinion here, and that's totally cool. But, so I've been putting together a pedal board. I've got, I think, 7 pedals on it right now. Just random stuff that I like, tones that I enjoy. I've always set my pedal boards up with pedal couplers. Okay, so instead of using patch cables, which have your 2 plug-ins and then a small bit of wire in between, it makes it a little bit more flexible, which is fine. I just use the patch cables, which are just a solid metal piece, end to end, just connect and play. Couplers, yeah. What did I say?
Patch cables.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, I mix up. So yeah, I use couplers. So I went up to the guy because you were looking for a cable, and I said, "Hey, do you have any couplers here?" Because I was going to order them, but I was like, "If I'm here, I'll just buy some couplers." He said, "No, we don't carry couplers, but if you want my advice, those are really really bad for basically for the jacks of the pedals anyway." I just kind of looked at him, and I'm like, okay.
Am I going to do this?
First of all, I didn't solicit your advice. And I told him, it's like, I've been playing guitar for a while. I've never had any problem with couplers. I respect your opinion, but I didn't really ask for it. Because I can be kind of mean anyway sometimes. I'm just I'm a little curmudgeon-y sometimes, especially when I don't solicit your opinion. But I've been using couplers for, and I do understand that they are rigid, and if you get a lot of rocking on your pedal board and you're aggressively stomping and moving and all that stuff, it can be bad for the jacks. But literally, you're using the same input jack as you would in a patch cable. So there's really not a ton of difference aside from the potential for jolting, which I totally get, but I don't care. I use couplers because it makes my pedal board look nicer and I don't have a bunch of wires going everywhere.
Yeah, the only thing I can say would be easier with the wires is you can, and this is more of an OCD thing than what most people care about. Nice and straight, yeah.
I'm with you there.
Because that's the only problem I see with your board. It's like a lot of toys, but they're not straight.
Well, the thing is
you get used to aiming for it, and you just aim wrong. And you pick it instead of
I have S-shaped couplers now, and I need to get a couple straight ones because if I get a couple straight ones, I can straighten it out.
Because typically the inputs are around the same area per pedal, depending on the size of the pedal. Some smaller pedals,
sometimes, yeah.
They're not going to line up.
For sure.
For that, you would probably want to use the cable instead. But
I just don't want extra cables. And like I said, I understand the difference between coupler. But what he said after that, after I'd said, okay, well, I've been playing a while, I know kind of what I'm doing. He said, well, hey man, I'm just explaining the science behind it. And I said, and I didn't say anything. I laughed and I kind of walked away. It's like, so you're trying to explain the science behind the engineering behind the electrical work of a pedal coupler. Please don't act like you know what the hell you're talking about. First of all,
coming from a guy who just 5 minutes earlier said he couldn't figure out a power strip for an amp I wanted to test. Yeah. And literally all I did was unplug it, plug it into the other.
I'd kind of forgot.
Their socket, and it was fine.
I'd kind of forgot about that because you were trying to test out the Boss, and we went to click it on, and it wouldn't come on, and basically there's a short in the power strip. That's what I would say it is probably in the one slot. And it's just out on the floor. The cords are out there. People trod on it. Blah blah blah. And all we really did was just switch up the plug-in, and it worked. And the guy was like, "Oh yeah, I've been trying for like a week to diagnose the problem." It's like, put a new power strip down.
Try very hard.
And so then you're trying to tell me about the science behind the engineering behind the electronics behind the coupler behind the pedal. It's like, get out of here, man! Yeah. Please don't try.
Answer my question or leave me alone.
Do you have couplers? Yes. End of conversation. Yeah. So anyway, that was kind of a funny. We laughed about it, but I was a little annoyed.
Yeah, because you kept talking about it through the store in a voice. It's like, yeah, he hears this, and it's awesome.
I honestly don't think about that very often, but
I guarantee
he
heard it.
My voice does carry sometimes when I don't really think. So. Yeah, it's possible, but I mean, again, maybe he should
deserved it.
Maybe he should learn. But it's kind of like auto parts stores. Sometimes you just get unsolicited advice. Generally, I do a lot of research into what I buy, no matter what it is. So I know what I want, and I know what works for me. And what might work for me might not work for you, and that's cool. I'm not going to attack what works for you if it doesn't work for me, and so on and so forth.
But don't try and change my mind.
Exactly,
because you don't know the situation.
For sure. So let's go ahead and wrap up Jedi Council. I know that was a stimulating 45 minutes of our day.
We said that'd be a 45-minute one, so I guess we're done here.
We're done. Recap complete. No, but we're not necessarily going to do a standard HoloNet. We're not really going to talk about news, but we do want to bring up a recent comment we had. You got that pulled up there?
I do.
Who was that who contacted us? He gave us a little bit of love.
Yeah, we finally got our first message. I'm not alone on Facebook Messenger, guys. And
nice.
he even says maybe this should have been email. I was like, no. Messenger's my domain.
And let me add this in. Never apologize for the length of a message, for the formatting of a message, for messaging us at a different time of night. We do appreciate anybody that reaches out and wants to chat Star Wars, because that's what we're here for. We're a book club, and we're here to bring you something that we enjoy, and hopefully you can kind of add your input as well. And we'd like to read your stuff on the podcast if it's cool. But yeah, don't ever apologize, because we're just happy to hear from you. And if you want us to hear from you, got to go to Facebook, look up the Contingency Plan Podcast. Send us a message if you want to. Yeah, send us your Star Wars story or theories or anything or comments on the podcast or an episode. You can also email us at tcplanpodcast@gmail.com. Also, you can also check us out at Patreon. We do have our Dinner with the Patreon series over there. And that's just kind of a casual chat we have, 30, 45 minutes where we just give you a little extra content. And if you want to support the podcast at all, that's a good place to do it. And anything that comes out of that just goes right back into the effort. We need some sweet swing arms for these mics now.
That's right. And possibly comfy. New mics. We'll see.
Well, these mics are okay, but you never.
I like them, but you're saying that you found better ones, so.
Well, it's just there's always better mics, but right. Anyway, okay. So continue with regular scheduled programming.
But yes, anyway, shout out to Mikhail, our first person to interact with us.
Yes, thank you, sir.
For a second, I was almost going to say your full name.
We probably shouldn't.
Don't worry, I didn't mess up there. But yes, I really appreciate the message. It's really nice to know that our core audience, at least I'm just kind of assuming here based on what you said, is people who are just as obsessed with the Force as we are. And he actually made a comment, since you're looking at it, about growing up, everyone was into the non-Force related parts of the canon. How did he?
Mandos.
The Mandos.
Mando fans, yep.
Yeah. Really appreciate that because I was the same way. How about you?
From the original trilogy, my favorite character was Han Solo. And I think a lot of that was because I've always found Harrison Ford to be so fascinating. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of that might have been Harrison Ford.
Probably.
But I did like Han. I appreciated Han a lot. And, but let's face it, the biggest part that was always the biggest interest for me was the Force users, lightsabers, lightsaber battles, Force Ghost, anything Force related. And, Mikhail was he was right here, with us kind of, saying that was sort of his passion. And, his friends were non-Force user kind of stuff. So I'm sure they loved Rogue One.
Probably.
And Solo.
But yeah, I love how we're saying we're big fans of the Force as we're getting ready to review Solo. But
finally, I do love Solo and Rogue One. But yeah, no, I thought that was really interesting, and he just basically was going over all aspects of the Force, and we look forward to talking about a lot of that as we go along, and yeah, I just appreciate you guys, appreciate Mikhail here and anyone else who wants to reach out.
Thank you for validating that we're doing this for an audience, not for ourselves.
Oh my goodness. We've had a couple spikes in views over the course of the past couple weeks. So obviously people are listening, but it's nice to hear from people who I don't care about being a fan of us in the podcast. That's not what we do this for. I just want to hear, what you like about the book, what you like about the series, what you like about the Force, what you like about
specific
the universe. Yeah, character. That's what we look for because, again, it's just kind of like trying to get like-minded people together in a safe environment. Excuse me. Coffee's coming back up. No, I'm just kidding. But, just a way to connect and, get on a similar page. So we appreciate you, man. We'll definitely look forward to talking to you as time goes by. And again, anyone else out there who wants to chat with two super cool bros, go ahead.
Please. Please.
All right.
Hey, by the way, since we have one fan.
We've got one.
He's mine. He's going to be my apprentice. So I've got my rule of two. You can recruit the rest, but yeah.
Is that kind of like the first dollar bill? That you get as a business.
Right.
You hang the first dollar bill. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, we're going to hang you from the wall. Just yeah.
Let's not get creepy here.
No, we're gonna. I was gonna say we're gonna print out the comment and hang it on the wall.
That would be great. Put a little frame up here.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great comment! What a great guy. So yeah, let's
plaster all your information for all the videos we're going to do in the future.
Which coincidentally, you know, as a recap, we do kind of want to not only recap the book, but kind of the way we've been going about things. We have a lot of ideas to extend our videos into the YouTube realm, because we do kind of want to give you a little FaceTime and talk about some other stuff other than the book as well. And we try and interject some of this stuff in the podcast, but in the same token, we don't really want that to be the core of the podcast, because the core of the podcast is the literature. It's the books.
What's going to be our core when we finish the books?
Well, in 25 years, when we do that and we've made millions of Disney dollars and we can just retire down to Disney World, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
But
maybe Disney will have their own book series by then.
Well, obviously they put out some, but just not near as in-depth as what we have yet. But anyway, that's something that we're planning on doing more videos for YouTube. So the podcast itself goes up on YouTube as kind of like a backup. And, you know, some people like to listen on multiple platforms or different platforms. But we do have the Contingency Plan podcast YouTube page, and that's something we we'll be building out more here in the future. We've got, you know, some character deep dives that we're looking at doing, and also, you know, just some general kind of newsy type stuff. We might actually wind up, you know, cutting the HoloNet from the episodes and doing like little mini episodes on YouTube. I think that's something we've talked about. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, coughing.
So we have more time to talk about guitars in the council.
Well, I still want to do that in the podcast, but I also want to do it for YouTube, because YouTube is another platform that you can garner more fans from, or, you know, listeners, viewers, whatever. So it's possible. We'll see what happens there, but, you know, we definitely have some more plans going forward, and this is really only the beginning. This is not even a year into doing this.
Would you say that this is just a spark?
Shut your mouth.
A spark?
Shut your mouth.
There are two kind of sparks, you know.
I'll give you a spark.
There's a Last Jedi spark, and there's a Solo spark that starts the movie. I like that spark.
I'll give you a spark. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about the book, Vector Prime. What was your overall opinion of the book? Let's do an overall.
They took my Chewie. They took my Chewie. No, it was an amazing book, truthfully.
It was a good book. I mean, I'm going to literarily, there were definitely some interesting things in there where you
said cringy wrong.
Well, I'm not a writer, and I would never claim to be a writer, or I also don't want to get down on a writer. But there were parts of the book that, you know, it seemed like you could have meshed things together a little better, maybe could have broken out. There was the battle that they had in the Haleska system when Jen and I almost said Jameson for some reason. Jason. You know, Jason goes and rescues Danny, and well, not Miko, but Danny. And
tried.
Well, yeah. But when they really come back, you know, that one was okay.
A little disjointed, like they forgot a chapter in between the battle.
But when they came back for the second stage and really, you know, kind of, you know, took out the Praetorian Vong, that was done so quickly. It was almost like, did you just want to finish the book?
I feel like this was planned out to be a 30-chapter book, and they had to cut some of it.
I can understand that. I will
do.
also say it also definitely seems like they could have written this book, and it was written in such a way where it's like, okay, well, if we can't ever write any more in this series, we can end on the note, right? It would obviously leave a big question, but
do you know how many years between this
I don't
the next book were?
I don't remember. I think they were all published relatively close together.
Obviously, it was a different writer as well. So to some extent, he has to finish out his portion of the story.
There were you know, several writers along this series of books. That's absolutely for sure. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the book. I don't want to say I didn't enjoy the book because there were some great moments in there. The Yuuzhan Vong living technology or organic technology. We kind of see some interesting Force techniques, the joining between the twins and Anakin. We see a little bit more of the piloting prowess of Han Solo.
Get to see quite a bit. You get to delve into Mara's issues. Her character was well developed in this book, I feel.
Well, I think I can speak for a lot of the universe when we say we want Mara.
Oh yeah, because she never even. Well, I mean, obviously she had one big fight scene, which is book, more than you could say for Luke.
Yeah,
but
he was more in star pilot mode. A lot of it
definitely didn't feel like enough Mara for this book.
I mean, this is one of the things that I would love to see in the episode 9. I would love to see they incorporate Mara Jade
for sure.
Because, well, let's not get this is a recap.
It would be very difficult to do it in a way that we would enjoy.
No, I think it would be quite easy, but this is a recap of Vector Prime, and I don't really want to drudge through the mud because eventually we'll have to start doing speculation videos because there is an easy way that you could do Mara that would make a lot of sense and would make certain people very, very happy. You just have to do it correctly. We'll talk about that in another video. I don't want to get too far off track here. So, but I love Mara, and that was definitely nice to see, and I'll be interested, to see how everybody takes, kind of as we go forward in there. Luke, I think this is the kind of the character, sort of playful at times, very wise, obviously, but kind of a step ahead of some people in matters. And he's teaching his nephews, and I mean Mara's basically taken on Jaina, but so there's definitely a huge gap between this Luke and the Luke that we have in our canon series now in the movies, where he's a little bit more broken and definitely a little bit done.
Yeah.
But this is kind of the classic Luke that we kind of looked up to. Nothing can touch Luke. And
one thing I want to say that I didn't necessarily mind in the movies was, even though there was a lot of bad humor in that movie, playful Luke was done pretty well, actually.
Yeah, there were definitely times he was able to be playful.
Because we always forget, Luke was equivalent to a god in the Star Wars universe in the old canon.
Depending on who you talk to. Some
literally,
people are like he's garbage, and others, no, he's the most powerful Jedi ever.
He literally went up against a god
and
true. Won with Palpatine's help. But still,
well, that's another
debatable.
thing.
But yeah, we won't get into that. But just think about it. He was always goofy. He was never a serious person. So that portion they did well.
He was a little bit serious when we first met him, because he was kind of young and he wanted to get the heck out of get off of Tatooine. But the sense of humor I always believe was developed because Star Wars was supposed to be kind of a kids movie, geared towards kids, and you got to have a little humor. You can't be serious all the time, which is maybe a point that we sometimes miss nowadays. But anyway, it's good to see this version of Luke, something that a lot of people enjoy. Chewie's death was very hard. I think it was kind of felt like, oh, well, we should kill somebody.
How did you react the first time you read this?
I thought it was
obviously we both knew that he died before we recorded this. I hadn't personally read the book, but I know enough of the lore to know how he died.
The lore. Yeah, I was disappointed. Obviously, Chewie's a great character. He's Han's best friend, and there's a bond there that is far beyond. I mean, it's a lifelong type of thing, and you don't necessarily have that a lot just in life. And
30 years they were together.
Yeah, and it just,
if not more.
Right. It just seemed really kind of just dumb. I didn't like it. I think the majority of the universe didn't like it. If you really wanted to kill somebody off, which again I don't really understand why you had
first book. Why do you need to kill someone off first book?
Yeah,
out of 20.
Yeah.
Granted, he didn't know at that time. If it was just going to be a one and done, I can understand why they had to give a sacrifice.
That's actually something I want to dig into. I wonder if they did greenlight several books or if this was kind of like a book and then we're going to do more. I'll have to look into that at some point because I've never really thought about that before now. But yeah, I like the indications of the Force. I liked that we have an enemy who, by quote, is not really in the... They have something, but it's not the Force, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously we learn a little bit later it's more of a hive mind.
Legion.
Kind of.
Yeah. We are Legion.
So it's a very different thing, and they interact with technology in a negative way, whereas, our heroes are almost bound to it.
Techie nerds.
Well, in a way, the Jedi, even though the lightsaber is, of metal and blah, 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 I mean, the Kyber crystal's alive.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a communion with the Kyber crystal. When a Sith such as yourself wants to construct a lightsaber, a lot of times they're stealing, they're taking this crystal, and then they have to corrupt it in order to turn it red.
You don't talk to your Kyber crystals. Mine wanted it.
I don't think it did.
He's my little
because
buddy.
If you read the Vader comics,
he's my little buddy.
When Vader went to get his Kyber crystal, it fought back.
We don't talk about Vader. He's an embarrassment. The Kyber crystal fought back because he knew he was weak.
That was a cool scene in the whole fighting bit. But anyway, so there is a communion sort of, but again, we're communing with the Force, not a thud bug. Or an Ugolith Muscure, or a Cloaker or something, or the Villip. We're not stroking Villips over here.
You've read this book too much.
Just saying, there's a different communion, but it's very interesting. And obviously we left the book, we destroyed the threat, but my God, the Rejuvenator. The poor Rejuvenator. It's gone.
It's not the Rejuvenator. Rejuvenator's gone. Just Rejuvenator.
It's always the Rejuvenator to me.
It's Rejuvenator, not the Rejuvenator.
Yeah, get out of here. But I mean, seriously, they threw at the Yuuzhan Vong, and again, this is just an advanced fleet. This isn't the bulk of their army.
It was just like them going, "Hey, we're gonna poke you, see what happens."
Well, they thought it was a lot of firepower. I mean, you had like the new best Star Destroyer, and then you have gunner ships and the Falcon and the
Jade Saber.
The Jade Saber and Luke in his X-wing and a squadron of X-wings and
Jade Laser Sword.
Oh,
sorry, we just watched a video before this on Disney being terrible because they let Luke say laser sword instead of lightsaber.
George Lucas,
sarcastically, by the way.
George Lucas said say laser sword.
His daddy said laser sword, so why can't Luke say laser sword?
Anyway,
what's wrong with laser sword? It doesn't sound stupid. A saber, a sword. We
probably are nerds in all respect, but at the same token, I am not going to get that worked up about a terminology change. And listen, George Lucas called it a laser. That's where it came from.
And he literally says that he doesn't, but he did. And then he shows a scene of Annie saying it.
Well, no, I'm saying that George Lucas at times would refer to it. But yeah, I mean, Anakin did say it in Phantom Menace, and it's been bandied about, but this is something that came not from Story Group or the lore. It came from George Lucas, who at sometimes would call it a laser sword. Who cares? Anyway, that was a weird. I didn't like that YouTube video at all.
It was clickbait. It got me.
No, that guy was bad. I mean, didn't quite understand the lore, in my opinion. So, anyway, back to Vector Prime. What else stood out to you? Was there anything else that really was grabbed your attention?
In a good way or a bad way?
Both.
We want to get the negative out of the way real quick.
Yeah, both. It doesn't matter either or.
Obviously, we talked about Chewie.
Yep.
The ending was not my favorite. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. The ending.
You mean the touchy-feely Han Solo feel fest?
I just feel like it was all a justification for killing Chewie. I feel like it was
Yeah.
added in after the book had already been completed, and someone said, "You know what? You need to explain yourself a little better."
Yeah, I understand. You know, I do understand you there. I did kind of like the only part I really liked about that was when Han basically said, you know, it used to be just all of us just flying around and we were
Yeah,
invincible and
I did like that.
nothing could kill us, but now he feels vulnerable for the first time in his life. And that
As George R. Martin laughs in the background.
oh God. But I mean, seriously, it does add a little bit of a depth of character because at the end of the day,
One of them
that
could
happens.
die.
They're getting older.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the last chapter was the epilogue, and it was just tacked on. And did I need it? No, not really. But it's a little touchy feely for Han and a remembrance of Chewie. So,
Which he needed to have that change in his character dynamic. It needed to happen for Chewie's death.
sure.
He couldn't have been, he couldn't have been stone-faced about that. He had
No.
to show emotion.
Well,
he had to.
it wouldn't have been good because then they would have had to continue on like the Anakin hating thing.
Oh my God, that would have been terrible if they had put that into the next book. I am
Yeah.
so glad that they put that into perspective for him.
Yeah,
That he's making the same decision right now
correct. Yeah.
with Luke as Anakin had to do with Chewie.
Yeah. So, again, the writing at times got a little spotty, but I actually thought that they tied together pretty good everything in the book, and they gave us a nice little bow here. But obviously, there's more. Nominor is still in the galaxy, wreaking havoc, and there's more Yuuzhan Vong to come.
That's right.
So we've got a lot more to go.
So what was your favorite part of the book?
Good.
Favorite
question.
chapter, favorite moment, favorite dialogue, favorite character, anything.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, that's kind of tough. I guess I kind of liked a lot of the stuff on Belkanen for some reason.
Really?
Like I liked Yamin Carr just kind of like sneaking around doing like super secret cloaker, massacre, spy stuff, with his little beetles and so forth. I thought that was interesting. I'm kind of intrigued with Dany because obviously now we kind of are seeing that she's force sensitive at least, as she called out to anyone. Jason picks it up, her voice, who he thought it was Miko, but it wasn't. And I'll tell you the one thing I didn't like about that was when it got a little hot.
What, you
When they
don't
were
want a
in-
romance between them?
When Danny and Jason were in the long, cylindrical, stylish ship
With skirts on.
with little tiny skirts on, and Danny just put her head in his chest.
And he just at that moment realized how beautiful she was.
She was dirty. She was really dirty, and cuts and bruises everywhere. But she was the most beautiful girl in the galaxy.
Are you an angel?
Oh, are you an angel? And then he put his hand in her hair and just pulled her close. I don't know. Social justice warriors might not like that anymore, but she just gave in. Yes. No, James. Yes. Yes, you do. No, James. Yes, you do. 50 no's and a yes means yes. God.
So that was your favorite part of the movie? Or of the book? Wow, movie.
That wasn't really my... And to be honest, like the bickering between Jason and Anakin got a little tedious to me.
It did.
Because they're both wrong in the
They're
grand
both
scheme of
right in
things.
a way, but in the most childish,
Well,
uneducated way
I
possible.
say they're wrong because we need to have an episode where we explain our thought process behind the Force. Because to me, they're both wrong. They're both doing it for their own selfish need, and you can't use the Force like that. But anyway, that'll
Can't
be
use the Force at all, really.
you can augment with the Force. The Force can bond with you and penetrates you.
Binds us.
And
Penetrates us.
as it does. Yeah. But no, I mean, we'll have to do another, like, a little short video for the YouTube channel to just kind of explain, because I do have a lot of problems with interpretation of the Jedi that I've had with the Force, and sometimes what the old Sith, the actual Sith, not Sith, like humans, but the actual Sith species. Some of the stuff they had, some of their belief system with their usage of the Force, although, they tend to get a little evil.
There were Sith that committed no crimes.
Correct.
There were Sith lords, dark lords of the Sith, that actually only furthered knowledge.
Yeah.
Granted, they were easily destroyed by their pupils.
That's true.
But they also really only cared about learning more about the Force.
For sure.
The communion.
So there's a lot to that, but we'll get to that. So the bickering got a little tedious. I really like Jaina. I always have. I mean, she was always probably my favorite character from these books because she's badass. She's
Sure
great.
it's not because of her creamy skin.
Oh my God.
And long flowing hair.
Oh, descriptors, man. Just a nice creamy skin.
I will say I'm kind of surprised that you didn't mention the communion, though, as being one of your favorite parts of the book between the twins and Anakin.
Oh, the Force connection.
Because I will say that is probably my favorite part of this book.
That was really cool, and I think that the neat thing about that was it was thought of and initiated by
very
Anakin.
Well, too.
It was by Anakin.
Done very well.
I'm
saying the whole way they did that entire chapter
agree.
was perfect.
I would agree, but it was interesting that it was initiated by Anakin, and it really got Jason thinking about his view of things. And I can't just be this solitary loner and emo guy. Maybe I should, instead of getting this mop cut, maybe I should get a little bit neater on top, and stop playing Hawthorne Heights and maybe start playing a little AC/DC. Do you think that's how his thought process went?
No, I think he was too busy worrying about Danny, even though he hadn't met her yet. Danny boy.
So, but anyway, I do find this book really interesting. It's a good first step into the universe. I think was there anything else that you wanted to mention about the book?
Nothing off the top of my head. Didn't really prepare for this. I didn't reread it or anything, so I'm probably...
That's kind of tough.
Yeah, I mean, my entire plan was in the past 2 weeks to read the whole thing, and that just, I didn't even get started. I think I got like 3 pages in. I'm like, oh, yeah, time constraints.
Sure. No, I get it. I get it, but no, I think we covered quite a bit. I mean, like the stuff on Cernpedal, the mayor.
Oh God, what happened with the mayor? I don't think he's dead.
That I still feel like we're going to see more.
I don't think he's dead. I feel like he jumped into a damn portal.
That was probably one of the weirdest things. And you know what? If he does come back, I have no memory of this place. I had no memory of that particular scene.
These are not the droids that you were looking for.
I just don't remember. But anyway, yeah, that was kind of funny. The whole Cernpedal thing was an amazing sort of feat of technology by the Yuuzhan Vong to destroy an entire planet by dragging the moon into it.
Not a feat of technology.
Well, not true technology.
Of science.
No. We'll see.
No.
Anyway, but no, it was cool, to think about, but Chewie. So. And then, you remember Miko's squadron, or not Miko's squadron? Kip, was it Kip? Kip Duran's squadron.
The 12 and 2 or something.
Yeah,
like
the
that.
12 and 2 dead Avengers.
The dozen and two. Yeah.
Those dorks going off. We're gonna destroy everything, and then they get wrecked by a bunch of bugs.
Bugs. I hope those bugs aren't a big part of the series. Okay. I hate those bugs.
Have you ever seen? Oh my goodness, what was the Nick Cage? It was a Nick Cage movie.
Bees.
Yeah, not the bees.
Not the bugs.
Not the bees. Oh, he is such a dynamic actor. One of the greatest of our generation. So anyway, we'll start a Nick Cage movie podcast. We could actually probably get a lot of content out of that. He's done a crap ton of movies.
I'm good.
Not the bees. Anyway, guys, We appreciate you stopping by for our little recap episode. For all of you out there, make sure you pick up your copy of Agents of Chaos, Book 1, Heroes Trial. And we will start our reread back. We are technically a little bit ahead with content right now. So it'll still be a little bit from the time that you hear this or something like that. But anyway, get your book, start reading. And we will discuss that when we come back.
Do you think this writer will bring Chewie back?
Chewie's dead in this universe. Poor Chewie.
Clone Chewie.
Get Itchy in. Itchy can watch his sweet hollow projections of weird holiday stuff, and he can be Han's new little Itchy buddy. And if you don't know who Itchy is,
you're not really a fan.
You've never been around.
You weren't there from the beginning.
Get out of here. I could have been. Anyway, thank you guys for stopping by. We definitely appreciate you listening to the podcast. It's been a lot of fun so far. We look forward to doing many, many more as we roll in through the rest of the New Jedi Order series of books. So you guys have a great rest of your day.
And as always, may the Force be with you.